Alright guys, so let's start by setting up this project. First of all, we need to make a Unity project. So if you don't have Unity downloaded yet, you should install it now. Okay, just select the default options. If you want to generate builds for Android, iOS, or WebGL targets, you might want to check them as well when you are installing Unity. But anyway, to start, it is very simple. You just have to open Unity, click on this new button to start a new project, and let's fill a few things. In the project name, we're going to name this Unity RPG. And as for the location, I like to teach my students to have a good practice of creating a projects folder under their home folder. It's much better than just throwing your project in the documents or downloads folder because things tend to be messy. On the other hand, if you have a projects folder, you're going to make sure that all the games that you create are going to be here. As for how this game is going to be rendered, we're going to select the two-dimensional mode. This is just to help you by setting a few things. You could start with a 3D project and convert it to 2D normally, there will be no problems with this. But if we select 2D, we're going to save time and have lots of things already set for us. After doing this, we don't need to add any external asset packages, and we're going to create project. So the goal of this video is to talk about what things we're going to use in this project, okay, and what external tools are going to be used, what assets are going to be used. So we're going to make sure that we already know everything that we need. Okay, so here we have an empty project, but we have a pack of assets that can be used. These assets are in a zip file that should be packed with this course. Okay, so I'm going to have this file already here. I have this art.zip. I'm simply going to copy it by right-clicking and choosing copy. And in the project, since we are making a Unity project, this assets folder is located somewhere in your computer. To quickly access it, you just have to right-click and choose Reveal in Finder. Okay, so we have this assets folder. Right now it's empty, but I want to make a new folder inside. I'm going to right-click, choose New Folder, and I'm going to rename this folder as Project. You're going to understand why soon. Inside the project folder, I'm going to paste the zip file with the art assets. I'm going to double click it to expand it. Okay, so you have these files here. And I'm going to get these folders inside the project folder. Then we can get rid of these art files. Okay, so move to trash. So this is how it looks. Assets folder, project folder, and then we have fonts, maps, and sprites. So if we go to Unity now, and wait a little bit for Unity to process all of these files because they have to convert to the proper format. This is what we have in our project folder. Okay, so some people might ask themselves when they're making their first projects, why do we need a project folder if we are making a project? Okay, it should be clear that everything that we are doing here is related to our game. The thing is, when you add external packages, when you add external tools, they're going to add their own files and their own folders in the root of the assets folder. So if you just put all of our folders in the assets one, if you put fonts, maps, sprites, scripts, and animations, there is a risk of you confusing what folders belong to your game and what folders are actually they actually belong to third-party companies, for example. Okay, so it's much better to do it like this because we're going to make sure that everything that we create is going to be in this project folder. Okay, so we have fonts, maps, and sprites. Since this is a two-dimensional game, there are a few things we have to care about. If you go to the sprites folder, you're going to see that we have battle, tile set, and world. Let's take a look at world right now. Okay, we have a few images here, a bat, a dragon, snake, villager. So there are some interesting images here, but one of them is a bit different than the others. If you look at player, okay, if you select player and I look in the inspector and increase this a little bit, you're going to see that this is a sprite sheet. Okay, so it's a collection of sprites. You can see the player moving down, up, left, right. You can even see the player throwing some punches here. But the thing is, you can't use this image exactly as it is right now. If you were to put this image here in the scene, you would see the entire sprite sheet, but that's not what we want. Whenever we are dealing with sprite sheets, with sprite animations that look like this, we want to slice this image in smaller images. Okay, for example, maybe we just want the image of the player looking like this. Maybe we just want the image of the player throwing a punch to the right, for example. So how do we do this? Thankfully, game development has evolved a lot in the past few years, and this is super simple with Unity. We're going to select the player image, so it's going to be loaded in the inspector window. We're going to press actually before that, we're going to look at the sprite mode. If you look at the sprite mode, it says single, so it's just one sprite, just one single image. We're going to click here and choose multiple. Okay, when we do this, we scroll down a little bit and press apply. So the information that we're going to deal with multiple images is going to be saved. And now we go to the sprite editor, and with the sprite opened here, we want to slice it. Okay, so if you click on slice, you're going to see that there are multiple types of slicing. Okay, we have automatic, grid by cell size, and grid by cell count. This is the easiest one of them, grid by cell count. So I'm going to click here, and you're going to see that we need to set a few things. We need to set the amount of columns and amount of rows. So we basically count. We have 4 columns and we have 7 rows. So 4 columns, 7 rows, and then we hit slice. It's going to be a bit difficult. Actually, yeah, we can see that. You're going to see that there are these green squares now. These are the slices that we were able to make in this player. Okay, so with that set here, we can press apply to save all of the sprites. We can close this, and if you look at the project folder now, you have the player here, and if you click on this arrow, you're going to see all of the slices that we made. Okay, all of the images that belong to the player are now here, so you can drag them individually and put them in the game. Okay, so this is basically what we need to put these sprites. We have to do some slices in other places here as well. So just so we don't do that on multiple lessons, we can do everything that's going to be needed right now. So we're going to the battle folder. Okay, so let's check the sprites that we have here. We want to deal with these icons. We're going to use these in the battle scene. So I'm going to select this icons image, sprite mode, multiple, apply, and then we sprite editor. We need to count. We have 10 columns and 4 rows, so we're going to slice. This is going to be 10 columns and 4 rows, slice, and then we have the squares properly set here. Once we apply, all the sprites are going to be saved. And if you expand the icon, you're going to see that every icon that we have here has been separated. So you see, it's a good system. It's much better to do this because you don't have to include hundreds of images. You just have a sprite sheet and you just slice it and use it inside Unity. Okay, we're going to need to use the mage as well. So sprite mode multiple. We can even press sprite editor and press apply here. So we have 5 columns and 4 rows. 5 columns, 4 rows, slice. We're going to apply. So every time you do this, you might want to check if it looks good. Okay, apparently it looks okay. We're also going to need the snake. So we set it as multiple. Sprite editor, apply before we add it. Then we have 5 by 4 again, slice, 5 by 4, we press slice, and then we press apply. Okay, and finally we just need the warrior now. So select the warrior. This is 5 by 4 once again. So before that, by the way, we put it on multiple, sprite editor, apply. Okay, slice, 5 by 4, great. We press the slice button and everything should be good now. Press apply, and there we go. Alright, so this is all the setup that we need to our sprites. You notice that there are other sprites here. We have a slime, we have a reptile, we have multiple enemies here. We have bats and dinos. But since we're not going to use them in this tutorial, we're going to leave it to you to edit these sprites and use them later. You're going to see that it's going to be very easy to integrate new enemies in this project. Okay, so this is what we need to use these assets. And by the way, these assets, they belong to this altar here. So it was made by Pixel Boy and it belongs to this Superpowers asset packs. You don't have to worry about using these assets and worry about copyright or things like that because all of these assets are released under this license, Creative Commons 0. That means it's public domain. You can use it freely, you can use it on personal projects, commercial projects, and there are lots of interesting asset packs here. So if you're interested in making other games and using other assets, you can just go to this page here, okay? github.com/sparklinglabs/superpowers asset packs, okay? So good, we already know everything we need to prepare about our assets, but what about this tile set image? What exactly is this? It's kind of like a sprite sheet, but these are tiles. You're going to see that there's a small unit here, a small square, that can be used with all of these assets here. Okay, so we're going to build a map by using tiles. We already have a prepared map here, but we need to use these tiles, and if you want to build other maps, you can just build them with these images that we have here. Okay, but what exactly do we need to convert all of these tiles into a map? If you look at the maps folder, there are going to be two TMX files. Okay, these files are the actual maps, but they are text files. So how exactly are we going to tell Unity by using text that we are building a map, and at a certain place there's going to be grass, at another place there's going to be a fountain? How exactly do we do this? First of all, we need a tool called Tile. It is a fantastic tool. It's a classical tool, and it works very, very great. Okay, so you just have to go to this page, mapeditor.org, and then you download the proper version for this project. Okay, and remember to support these tools if you want, if you are able to, because they are just great and they're free to download. Okay, so it's very important for us to support all of these authors. Okay, so you have to download this tool, install on your computer, and once you do that, you're going to have this project here. Okay, you're going to have tiled. So if you want to open this, once you have tiled installed, you just double click on town, for example, and it's going to open like this. This is the map that was already built, okay, for this specific tutorial, so you can use it in this project. Okay, so this is what we have for tiled. But also we need another tool. This is just a tiled project, but if we want to use that project in Unity, we're going to need tiled to Unity. Okay, once again, it's a free tool. We can use it as we want, but it's very important for us to support the authors. So go to this page, seanba.com/tiled to Unity, and you're going to be able to download this tool, okay, made by Sean Barton. So another great tool. It's very straightforward to use, but there are some things we need to be careful about here. Okay, so we have these maps. In Unity, we can't just drag the map and drop them in the hierarchy like we do with images, or in this scene, for example. We need to have the tool installed in your computer, and you also need the tool files in Unity. So we're going to open Tile to Unity. This is the Mac version, but there are Windows versions as well. And at the top of this tool, we're going to click on Help and press Import Unity Package to Project. Once we do this, this window is going to open in Unity. It's a regular import package tool. Okay, we're going to have multiple folders here. It doesn't really matter what exactly we have here, but once we press import, all of the files are going to be extracted and added to your project. So once this compilation is done, you can look at the assets folder, and you're now going to have two folders. You're going to have project and then tiled to Unity. That's why it's important to have this project folder here. Okay, so there we go. Assets folder, we have project and tiled to Unity. And notice again that tiled to Unity has its own files here. We have materials, meshes, prefabs, scripts. It has its own thing to make it work completely. Okay, so alright, so how do we integrate these maps here? If you go to Tile to Unity, you are able to select the TMX file and then tell where to import it to. So here in Tile to Unity, I'm going to File, Open Tiled File, then I'm going to Projects, we're going to Unity RPG, Assets, Project, it's our own folder, Maps, and then we're going to select Town. We're going to press Open. With Town selected, it's going to be properly loaded, but we're not done yet. We also have to tell where are the exported files going to. So we need to click on this Export to File, okay, and once again, Project, Unity RPG, Assets. This time we're going to select Tile to Unity, and then we choose this text file, tiletounity.export.txt. So we press Open, make sure that it's going to be properly loaded here. And once we do this, if you want to make sure your tile map has been read correctly, just press preview map, so you're going to see this image. Okay, you're going to notice that these tiles, they also have squares around them. These are collision areas that have been already built in your map. Okay, if you want to change it because you're making other maps, you have to select the tile set, which is this one already loaded. You have to click here in this tool to edit these tiles. You have to make sure that you have the tile collision editor active here, so we just click on this button, and every time you choose a tile, for example this one, you're able to draw the collision area. You just click and drag around. Okay, and I think you should use this tool here. Yeah, insert rectangle. If you want to add another collision area, you can just click and drag and it's going to be added. Okay, notice that some of these tiles, they don't have collision areas, like this one here. This one doesn't have either, but it's because they're not going to be used in this tutorial. But if you want to improve, if you want to use other tiles, and if you want the player to collide with them, you have to use this editor here. Okay, but we're not going to edit anything here. No need to save. I'm just showing that to you. Okay, so we go to preview map. We can see that the map is properly loaded here. Everything's looking fine. We can see these collision areas. Once we're doing this, we have to click on big ass export button. Okay, you just click here, and if you go to Unity, you're going to see that it processed a few files. But now if you go to Tile to Unity folder and you look at prefabs, we have a town. Okay, so if I drag and drop this into the hierarchy, we have our entire town here available to be used. And if you zoom in, you can see that there are some green rectangles, some green lines, but these are just determining the collision areas. Okay, that means that if we put a player here, we're going to be able to collide with this map. Okay, but we're going to delete it for now. Okay, the good thing about this lesson is that basically we have everything set up for us art-wise and tool-wise. Okay, we have all the necessary tools, necessary files, so we can go into the next lesson and dive straight into coding. Okay, we need to make 3 different scenes in this game. So in the next lesson, we're going to work on the menu scene, right? So I see you soon.